So if you're going through a depression and you think it's scary because the people around you don't understand what you're feeling and you're feeling lonely, then maybe this video where I'll explain the 4 kinds of thoughts that will usually run through your head in sequence when you're going through a depression might ease you to help you better understand what is actually happening. So before you reach the last thought, you can hopefully get a grasp of the situation earlier and hopefully get your life back the way you wanted it to be before. So the first thought would be the feeling that you aren't good enough. So this, I think, makes sense when you're depressed because you feel that you're worthless. You ask yourself, oh, before I was so productive, before I was getting much more respect from my colleagues and my boss, and now no one takes my work seriously, no one's talking to me, or when I go to events, no one's asking about my life. So am I boring as a person, or are they not my friend anymore? And these kind of thoughts, these dark thoughts, will spiral in your mind and will always lead to the same conclusion where you're asking yourself that you aren't good enough. And your mind will trick you because all these kind of examples that I gave will precisely serve as an example to validate the point that you aren't good enough in your mind. But you have to tell yourself that this is just your perception of the situation at the moment because you're seeing life through the lens of depression. Imagine you go into a dark room wearing sunglasses and everything will be even darker. So it's easy to say, take off the sunglasses. But here also, once you're aware of this, maybe then you can start to not impose, but you can remind yourself that these thoughts are temporary and it's a wrong perception, and try to remind yourself of the real thoughts. Question yourself if what you're feeling is true or not. Now moving to the second thought. The second thought would be that because you don't feel good enough, you will be less likely to meet people. You will self-isolate. And this is a problem because ideally when one is depressed, you need help, as the saying goes. But if you don't feel like meeting people, even the people who could be helping you, because let's face it, there are people out there who care for you, even if you don't think so at the moment of depression. If you're not meeting them, well, then you will further spiral into depression. And again, this thought, we have to challenge it. We need to tell ourselves that there are people out there who care about you. So let's see if that's the case. Let's reach out to people. Let's call our friends or family who we consider close to us and tell them that we aren't feeling good. Because at the worst case, they will just push you away. And that's something that you're already trying to tell yourself is the case. And if not, well, then they will help you. So this is a way that we can hopefully challenge the second thought. So the third thought would be the feelings of regret. Because as we can imagine with the first 2 thoughts, they're going to weigh on you a lot. And you will keep telling yourself that, it's your fault that before you were a better person and now because you're self-isolating and you aren't good enough, you're the bad person. It's all your fault, right? It's not other people's fault. It's basically your fault that you aren't feeling good enough. That's what our mind is telling us in a depression. And this, again, needless to say, will make you spiral further into depression. We need to challenge this thought by telling us that this is our perception and it may not be valid. And instead, we need to reach out to the people. We need to try the activities that we enjoy doing again, because hopefully by trying things again, we will be able to see firsthand that actually we're not as bad as we think we are. So there's less to regret. Hopefully we start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, that we can slowly get out of this low phase and back to the person we want to be. But of course, if you only see the dark side of life, then we will never get out of this depression. And this is something we need to avoid. Finally, the fourth point would be, because you would be self-isolating and not meeting anyone, and let's face it, not doing anything every day, you will feel tired. And this is the irony, because you're not doing anything yet. You have this tiredness that you can't explain. But the thing we have to understand is that there are 4 types of tiredness, in the sense that there's physical tiredness, there's intellectual tiredness, there's emotional tiredness, and there's social tiredness. It means that tiredness can be caused by 4 different types of things, and consequently we can classify it as a different type of tiredness. I'll cover this more in detail in a different video, but the takeaway here is that you may be feeling tired, but it's not physical tiredness. It's most likely intellectual and emotional tiredness due to a depression. So the point is that no matter how long you sleep, even still feeling tired. And this will further make you spiral into the circle. So we need to understand that again, this is a trick that our body is playing on us, not just the mind anymore, but also our body is playing along with the depression that our mind is playing on us. And we need to detect this. And at this point, really push ourselves to just do small things, because the longer you stay resting, doing nothing, unfortunately, it will only get worse. So if this kind of content is helping you to better understand your depression, then please feel free to like the video or subscribe, because it will let me know that this kind of content is helping you with your mental health.